So before we get back to our featured poets, we'll have the open mic. You can volunteer to read in the chat. You can also use the raise hand function if you would like to. We have the same trigger warnings. I will announce people as we go. What else do I need to say? Okay, let's see. I see a bunch of people volunteering. Okay. Alrighty. Mr. Peckham, would you like to read first?
Yes, can you hear me?
Followed by Gary and then Judith.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, everybody has been so serious that, and I hardly ever write anything funny. I guess you'll be the judge. I'll read a funny one that I did write during this crazy time. It's called, what is it called? Unnatural Selection. And a lot of things struck me during COVID, including one of the big things was how frivolous large swaths of our population are. Of course, a lot of serious people doing serious work as well. But so anyway, now Darwin has said, despite what's in your head, that humans evolved from the monkeys. And all that is known is that changes were slow, having first to stop swinging from trees. Selections were made based on need, not desire. Opposable thumbs were on order. Our cranium growth made us less of an oaf. It allowed us to figure out fire. Walking upright was big as it gave us free use of our hands you could use for inventions. But it not only made us nimble and fast, it let us create new intentions. We did lose the tail and got slightly more frail as our skin became softer, less hairy. That may not be much, but we have a deft touch, and now we are not quite as scary. I fear for our future as it appears that it is a lot less of the fittest survival. It seems when we breathe, there is not much a need for changes to help beat our rival. Makes one wonder at best if evolution will rest or simply will change with the times. Perhaps brains again grow till our skulls have to blow and we all end up talking in rhymes. The next alterations might cause consternation as men's fingers resemble controllers. With the video games and very few lofty aims, most time is spent online as trollers. Whole brain quadrants reserved for sports data absurd, science thought to be banished to fringes. There will be little learned except how not to get burned, playing the odds as mutation impinges. For all that we know, our bodies will grow marsupial pockets in places that will let us adjust to each fad that's a must, interchangeable parts on our faces. Our eyes will self-tint and there won't be a hint of a change that will bring great attention. In our mutating cells, our frivolity swells, making genes of another dimension. The process will need to be something freed from its historically useful obsession with all the things good so that everybody could, so that everyone could have inordinate strains of progression. It's no longer the case that we need to keep pace with intelligent design concept thinking. It is no longer queer to have only one ear or to have a third mouth just for drinking. So as we evolve in ways not meant to solve the means of surviving in situ, there will be a mess, it's anyone's guess, until soon the reality hits you. I have little doubt our eyebrows will sprout in places we couldn't imagine. And when we become a species quite dumb, poets surely will fall out of fashion.
Thank you. Hey, at least we get pockets, right? Okay, next up, let's have Gary, Judith, Stuart, and then a whole bunch more people.
Okay, I should be unmuted. I was going to read something else, but after Jules read her poem about nothing, I decided to read this one. It's called Maya, which is, I guess, the Indian or Hindu word for illusion. Maya. Here in the dark, nothing is solid, nothing what it seems. Even this dark, only an image. Nothing behind your head. Everywhere you look, colors thread the dark, colors dance to rhythms, too familiar to be random. You watch and colors unzip like DNA, divide in front of your eyes. Colors branching again and again. Trees of color explode in the dark. Colors overlap until colors no longer matter. Now, only white remains. Now, only the glare of shapes, too bright to see. Everything that is or was, everything that could be or could have been, everything, somewhere in this white, this glare, hiding for a moment, the memory of nothing.
Nice. Thank you. Okay, next up, let's have Judith, Stuart, John Gorman, and then Laura Pena.
So my first poem is, it's called Sleeveless, and that's spelled S-Leaveeless, sleeveless. I watch for buds, tiny scent tents, up and down bony branches like goosebumps. Roots regroup, shoots push, decay away. Together, they tell up from down like sweat-infused sheets. The next one is Meta for Ransom. Hurricanes roll off Africa, a sequence of spinning flat stones tossed in a warm ocean, all named, all destructive, like a large litter of puppies galloping in with the tide.
Galloping, nice. Thank you. So next up, let's have Stuart, then John Gorman, Laura Pena, and a whole lot more people. Hey, Stuart.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Appreciate it. This poem's called Another Creature Lovely Crawled the Tree. Another creature lovely crawled the tree. She sweetly inched to feed by me. She held her simple sunlit eyes to mine to see if we could move as one, unite to meld the nests we'd need against a growing cold to come. Her colors form and eyes alight, her want to see our wings in grace unfold. We turned to find a niche to foster flight. But body silken soft, this head was hard. A sunken darker valley saw me sow my den alone. This loving other, barred but near, would settle in the sun aglow. Though two may winter closely night and day, a soul in warming light soon flies away. Thanks.
Thank you. That's lovely. All right, let's have John Gorman, Laura Pena, Roderick, then Harvey.
Hey, everyone. Just to dash your self-promotion, I signed on with Asher Lifelong Learning Institute in Galveston to do 8 weeks of discussion on Louise Glick. Supposed to start this coming Friday. This has enrolled about half as many people as it needs. So if you are interested in saving it, enter OLLI Galveston in your search engine, and you'll get everything you need to know. You have to be 55 or over to join OLLI. Now, the last 2 times I've read hunks of my poem Radioactive, and this concludes it, the last 3 sections. Rodeo news in the paper, a schedule of big-time singers, scholarship-hungry kids curry-combing their goats, entire chambers of commerce wind string ties to their throats through turquoise loops, but also floods in Kentucky, brown and lethal as hurricane summers here. One perfect white Victorian farmhouse holds a front page focus, as if Magritte had set it over his mind's sea, a North American icon en voyage. But on the untelevised prairie, Photinia reddens in the hedges, feedlots empty toward Houston, redbud gleams from farmyard or ranch yard, a chalk purple light in the dusk. Far away, on our mountaintops, under our orbiters, antennae turn toward space, seeking the sad cry of cadmium-based people 800 million years ago. We're here, en voyage. What's old? Kentucky farmsteads, that flooding river, the hills from which the river rises, the earth, the sun. Rodeo is old in Texas. Everything is context. In the context of unbridgeable space, so thin in being, most of it is barely there. The earth is a geyser of essences, birth after birth after birth, so rich we can live in it twice, once in memory. Any meagerness we feel is ingratitude. And animals, clique lights, showbiz, news, buckskin, souvenir hawkers, traffic jams out the 610 loop, palominos on Montrose. Let the mayor, Kathy Whitmire is still mayor in this poem, let the mayor emerge from a helicopter in her cowgirl dress. By pictograph, dry point, etching plate, lithograph, laser light, may the reduplications continue. May the trail rides swell. Our skies rain through our miraculous air. A sexual chant summons the tips of the new corn, and they knock up out of the earth. Can reality know itself? Maybe it's only here this happens. Maybe in this nook in the chill, the hopeless task of memory weaves just fabric. Enough. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, let's have Laura Pena, followed by Rod, Harvey, and Tria.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with all of you. So this poem is called How to Make Your Own Wonder Incense to Conjure Memories. Gather your ingredients and tools. Think on the memory you want to conjure. Write in red ink upon bay leaves and throw them into the fire. Crush pine cones and birch bark in a mortar and pestle, add cinnamon, and throw it into the fire too. Inhale that fresh scent. Remember what it felt like when you were 5 years old, running over the forest floor in bare feet and you didn't care, scratched and bleeding and you didn't care. The forest spoke to you, rock, rock, swampin', and you spoke back. Pine needles, fallen logs, frogs croaking, lifting up rocks and poking at scurrying pillbugs. Fingernails black with dirt, torn blue jeans and a t-shirt. Feliz y loca niña andrajosa. Stay in that moment, just 5 more minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's hear from Rod, then Harvey, Tria, Shen, and a few more other folks. Hey, Rod.
Hey, thank you, Leila. Thank you. And Laura, awesome poem. I just wanted to take a moment here to say everyone's been great. I wanted to make sure that I invited everyone to come back with us on Saturday, April 17th to celebrate public poetry and Houston Public Library's 10-year anniversary of the library reading series. More information will be released to invite everyone to this fun environment. Today, I heard Julianne Tran say something in one of her readings earlier that has been resonating through my mind. The line went, we all buy success at prices we don't understand. And I have just, that was very, it spoke to me is all I can say. And I'll be thinking about that throughout the day. Everyone else, I mean, the readings have been very awesome. But I just wanted to make note of that line that has been resonating with me. But thank you, Julianne Tran, for that. And thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. More information to come on our next events. All right, next up, let's hear from Harvey, then Tria, Shen, and a few more people. We've got a good list here. Oh, Harvey, I think you're muted. Still muted. Can someone help him?
Right, am I unmuted now?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, let me bring up the poem. First, if I may, I'd like to invite you all to Artful Dodgers Poetry, which hosts every third Saturday in open mic, usually with a featured reader. Our next feature is Anne Drysdale coming to us from the UK. And I've posted an invitation in the chat with an email address. If you send me your contact information, I'll put you on our notification list. This one is called Dia de Muertos 2020 with an epigraph, something there is that doesn't love a wall, Robert Frost. Mexico's Day of the Dead, November 1st, arrives just before America's Election Day, November 3rd. Payback, perhaps, for the border wall's gangrenous spread. And just who are these Mexicans paying tribute to anyway at our shared river-run border during those first days of November, that stormy 3-day period, a conflation of All Saints and All Souls Day with the Day of the Dead? Having concluded their ritual homages to Gone Girl, Mamacitas, and Chiquitas. Some say it's for historical personages washed up on the Rock of Ages, Pancho Villa Zapata, Santa Anna, a curtain call for time-honored patriots. Others that these air raid ululations commemorate the upsurge of non-swimmers driven to be hyphenated Americans, the fat chanciness of caravaneers weighed down by poverty, struggling to survive the water crossing. Their lungs fairly bursting from shouting a joyless Ayuda me, deflating like get-well balloons, the kind that sag from a hospice ceiling as that last bit of air leaks out of them, as it does from the dying patients below. It is traditional to bring flowers, post photos of the departed whenever possible, light candles, sweeten their passing with sugar skulls, the sorts of things Cortez's good Catholics are taught to do by rote on holidays before the Aztec in them rises up to demand human sacrifice, blood, lust, idling in SUVs. In Nogales, Sonora, and Ciudad Juarez, cartels stop shooting at each other, if only briefly, accounted by Sinaloan generalissimos time enough to reload and pay last respects. With cross-border attention spans, ours, theirs being short as the fuses on those suppository dynamite sticks dirt farmers employ to clear their fields of tree stumps. It is excellent that at least once each November, about as often as we gringos honor our unknown soldiers, our veterans, with, oh, say, can you see hands over hearts and flags flying, processionals come bearing fruit platters to the river's edge, where grinning masks packed with chocolates take in the sight. In the shadow of a stopgap scarecrow Hadrian's wall frowning down upon them, intended as a stop sign in English, Spanish, Spanglish. A migration of unmonarchical butterflies seek out their true north El Dorado, namesakes having been located in Kansas and Arkansas by Google Maps. Apple's Siri, when asked, cheesily sing-songing, here's an El Dorado, there's an El Dorado, calling to mind old McDonald's farm. North American streets of gold beckoning to emigres brightly as mousetraps. For more than 1,000 miles, the river that separates us stretches across New Mexico to the Gulf Coast and Old Mexico, a moat alienating Our Lady of Guadalupe from her American counterparts, cutting along the dotted line between north and south, leaving behind the unambiguous dead, a potter's field of brown-skinned corpses. Observers mourn them as they fail the swimming portion of their American Ninja entry test. Setting remembrances down beside the Rio Grande, the Mexicans' Rio Bravo, in which so many hapless dreamers splashing towards freedom drown. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for the invitation too.
Surely.
Next up, let's hear from Tria, followed by Shen, Linda, Pravadri, and more.
Hi. As a quick content warning, this poem does deal with traumatic childbirth. So, Godzilla's C-section. No one expected Godzilla to have a birth plan, to haul in a duffel packed with herbs and scented oils, or a playlist tuned for every stage of labor. In the birthing room, Godzilla won't huff placidly through jagged stars of pain, won't chant mantras about opening and strength until a baby just slides out. Fire at the mother-in-law poking her worried gray head in the door to ask why it's taking so long. Dilation wasn't charted for Godzilla, who knew immediately when the pain had turned a corner into danger and growled for the epidural with pure entitlement to its sweet relief. No one will dare to tell Godzilla, but it's bad for the baby. Just look at his bared teeth and shut the hell up. When the midwife calls for the doctor to cut in, Godzilla does not feel lost, eunuched, failed. He lifts a shiny claw and does the work himself, one clean, low cut through skin and scale, and lifts his own infant out. Godzilla bites through the cord and snarls at the nurse to close the wound as he tucks his infant to his breast. No one says Godzilla is less than a woman for all of this. He feels just fine about his birth experience. Nothing was done to his body but what he willed. He didn't have to buck up and give in. Godzilla is not disappointed or depressed. He curls his arms around his tiny babe and gurgles ancient lullabies, won't give it over to anyone else to hold. Godzilla's lost in love. When the baby roars and shakes its little fists, Godzilla smiles. A baby full of heat and pure will. No better birth than this.
Thank you. That's awesome. I love it. Next up, let's hear from Shen, followed by Linda, Pravadri, and John Simons.
All right. Thank you. Hopefully you can hear me. All right. Distant light. Above our heads, a galaxy of stars. Below us, a constellation of cities. 7 million light years in the past, a star has long died. Its light, like a drifting snowflake, finally falling on our distant waters. Below, scarcely any of us feel that death, when most are so consumed with Earth, absorbed in the constructed man-made systems. Star watchers that do gaze feel a sudden chill. In silence, they ponder on our fate. When our cities die with our own novas below extinguished, will there be other watchers who see the memories carried by our lonely night lights? Okay. Well, that was really short. Okay, one more, also really short.
Oh, actually, we have
oh,
one
that's
poem
it?
per customer rule.
Didn't know that.
That's
Okay,
the thing I forgot
appreciate
to
it.
say earlier.
All right, that's fine.
Come back next time.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Linda, are you ready? Can't hear you yet.
Hi, sorry, how's that?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. Hi. So the poem I'd like to share is from a little series of poems that I wrote that feature time as a character. And in this poem, time is hanging out after hours with eternity. And it was published by Gray Sparrow Journal a while ago. So it's called Time After Hours. Time and eternity, forever at play, walk into a bar on the other side. No one here knows the end of this quirky cosmic joke, but imagine them walking in, larger and messier than life, trailing in bits of everything from stars to sand, eternity droning on about everything and nothingness, time smiling and laughing with a hearty chime, chime, chime. Bartender pouring glasses of light and darkness as spirits come and go, talking about life and those silly lines they used to draw in the sand, while love songs loop on the jukebox.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. All right, next up, let's hear from Purvadri, followed by John Simons.
Am I audible?
You're good.
Well, hello everyone, and today I'm going to read out a poem which I have written. I've titled it as Overjoying End. Today I narrate you a story about a girl whose life was full of glory, which came to an abrupt halt when she couldn't witness things at all. Her happiness, her tears, her groaning, her cheers were all enveloped forth and back in a world where it was only black. Blindness it is, the doctor said. Hope you recover soon, said her friends. But none realized, seeing the poor girl. To her, her world was dead. However, through the passing years, something entered into her ears, which completely broke her reverie, as doctor announced recovery. Overjoyed she was, enthralled. Who ever knew what waited ahead? Although she overcame all her difficulties, she couldn't bear the excitement. Down she fell and never rose, smile on her lips and eyes closed. They said, laughter stroke, wiping a tear. The excitement of it all she couldn't bear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's hear from John Simons. And if I've missed anyone, let me know in the chat.
Hi, thank you. This poem has a reference to an adult situation, which is called growing old. And so hope many will relate to that. This is called The Ground Game. We start to smell like a compost of life. Our quick sink soapings not doing the job. Even with rails to hang on to, our trips to the shower seem hindered endeavors. Juggling bath wash in one hand while keeping the other one free. Lifting one foot, then the other to scrub. Feeling pain for disabled friends and wondering how they get this done. We start postponing daily essentials and blaming the blades for missing the hairs, tufting up in earlobes and nostrils, along cheeks, chins, and lip lines. We envision farmlands reverting to fields of grass, not for smoking, but just growing wild, of weeds, not for healing, but sprouting. Free in the untended furrows, draining occasional orchards, lost in the last signs of care. Growths spread their shoots with abandon, returning the soil to a status of elders. lost in the memory of purpose. We get in end games, goals in the ground, plowing over forgettable moments to rejoin our layered origins, thinking more of the earth as the source of our time and perhaps a mystery of new life tomorrow. Thank you. Happy Easter, everybody.
Oh, thank you. And happy Easter and happy spring to you as well. Okay, if we don't have any more volunteers, I'm going to finish up the open mic myself. Now, as you all probably know, you're welcome to read your own poems, but you're also welcome to read one you like by someone else. And that's what I'm going to do here. This is Don't Allow the Lucid Moment to Dissolve by Adam Zagajewski, who passed away recently. This is translated by Renata Gorzinski. And I love this poem, which is why I have to share it with you. Don't allow the lucid moment to dissolve. Let the radiant thought last in stillness, though the page is almost filled and the flame flickers. We haven't risen yet to the level of ourselves. Knowledge grows slowly like a wisdom tooth. The stature of a man is still notched high upon a white door. From far off, the joyful voice of a trumpet and a song rolled up like a cat. What passes doesn't fall into a void. A stoker is still feeding coal into that fire. Don't allow the lucid moment to dissolve on a hard, dry substance. You have to engrave the truth.